Hi guys, congratulations on the film. I really, really enjoyed it. And David, I have to say, out of everything that you've done, this one probably put you through the ringer the most. Am I correct?
Oh, for sure, without a doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
I have to know before we get into,
They had to take the old ringer back and actually rework the ringer to make it a little bit more difficult than the pre-existing ringer that's out there. Yeah.
well, that's out there. Yet I have to ask you, I mean, when you decided to take on the role, or even when Tom approached you and said, I want you to play Robert, and even did you know a lot about him? Like, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
No, I knew nothing about Robert or his work or the book that subsequently came about as a result of this journey that we depict. But uh, obviously dove right in once I met
Mhm.
with Tom. Once he sent me the script and then met with Tom and so yeah, I mean, but knew nothing going into it.
Yeah. Tom, for you to tell this story, to write it, and to put this whole script together, and then it's a fascinating story, no question. Now I understand that you grew up kind of near this national forest, but I wanted
Hmm.
to know how you kind of got on Robert's radar. Like, had you read the book? What was the impetus for making the film?
Yeah, I grew up very close to where the film and the real story took place, and just spent my weekends hiking, fishing, and camping there. And a friend who knew that gave me the copy of the book and said they thought I would like it, and I read it and I loved it. And then I met Bob, and I loved him, and just spent almost 10 years at this point just
Wow.
writing and rewriting the book. And a lot of things happened in Bob's life during that point, so the film ended up being based on 7 of his other books too. And then
Hmm.
all that time I just kept picturing Bob Pyle because I wrote it about a real person. I haven't done that before.
Hmm.
And then when David and I met, it was sort of the first time where, oh, I started to be able to picture what the character in the movie was going to look like. And that was really exciting for me.
Yeah. David, how do you even begin to prepare for something like this? Because as I said earlier, it's so out of your comfort zone. It's so different from what we've seen from you. And, I don't even know if I was paid $1 billion if I could do what you did in this movie.
$1 billion.
Even $1 billion, really, seriously.
That's a lot of
Canadian,
money.
and that's
That's
Canadian dollars.
that's you're talking some Netflix cash then.
That's
Wow.
right.
Um, uh, well, I mean, it wasn't when you consider that, and we took a little kind of license with the amount of ineptitude he has in the
Yeah.
beginning. He wasn't, the real Robert Pyle wasn't that quite inexperienced or naive. And again, it's an amalgamation. The script is informed by a lot of his subsequent writings, but uh, oddly enough, I started reading The Dark Divide, and
Hmm.
I started. This is well into Tom and I, going over the script, going back and forth, and notes and changes and stuff, and talking about things, and I guess I read about a third of it roughly, and I called Tom and I said, "Hey, I'm going to stop reading this because it's bumping up against what I want to do and the way I want to play it."
Hmm.
And his response, and I was expecting a little pushback, and his response was like, "Oh, actually, I was going to tell you to probably do that."
Right.
Because I did want to keep him, at least in the beginning, a little. I play him a little more introverted and less proactive than the real Bob Pyle is,
Hmm.
which I think helps for the story of the whole evolution that his character undergoes. But so oddly enough, I was doing research and then stopped.
Right.
And I had met with Bob, and he's the most amazing guy, just the sweetest, kindest, gentlest human being you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Um, and and I learned different things about butterfly hunting and how to handle them and how to capture them and things like that. and those were all valuable. I went hiking with a survivalist in some of the woods, the territories where we were going to be shooting near, and just learning about the floral and fauna that exists there. And then I stopped after that. I was like, I don't want to know. I mean, I need to know how to pitch a tent, so it's easier to pretend not to pitch a tent, but when it comes to the day when I have to pitch it, I have to pitch it. So
Yeah.
those things I learned, but I pretty much pulled out of that aspect of it,
Amazing. And did you have to look up I can't even say it, lepidopterist before you even knew?
I had the same issues.
Yeah, lepidopterist. That's a hard word to say.
Yeah. Well, I had to be able to say it on camera without stumbling, so I had to say it over and over again. You're right.
Yeah. Tom, tell me a little bit about the production, because you had a small crew, obviously. Not we're not talking amazing trailers here and everybody getting having their own butlers and maids and things like that. I mean, this is a bare bones set. And then I understand that there was a tornado that dropped in Portland, like right nearby.
Thanks for the reminder. I think
No problem.
I have a big stack of insurance claim paperwork on my desk.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah. We shot with a small crew. I come out of the documentary world and really wanted people to feel like they'd experienced a little bit of this journey, which, to do that, you've got to go to some pretty rugged and remote places.
Yeah.
And we did. We shot it all in 22 days. So it was definitely like racing from place to place. And we have all the like typical movie horror stories, plus a tornado. They dropped a truck on our
wow,
pancaked it. Every day was sort of a new adventure and surprise, and it was a good lesson in sort of collaborating and rolling with the punches. And in a way, I'm happy that happened, because a lot of the stuff that we all came up with in the moment are some of my favorite things in the movie.
Yeah, amazing. What an amazing experience. And also, I love Deborah Messing in this film. We've seen her do drama before. Of course, we all know her as Grace. We love her with her comedy. She's got such great comedic timing. But, David, for you to work opposite her in this capacity, you are portraying real life people. Here she is, a woman dying of cancer. That had to have been difficult, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Deborah has a different process than I have, and I tried to respect that. And she had a much harder task to get to where she had to get to. Really, it's you can prep for that kind of thing, but you've got a bunch of people, and then when somebody yells action, you have to be dying. And there's still, there's a sound guy with a thing right here and all kinds of that kind of stuff going on. So, I just sort of sat back and let her kind of dictate how those scenes were going to kind of move, because that was it's a difficult thing to ask somebody. She was in and out in, I think, like 2.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I mean, we didn't have a lot of time, so even harder for her, meaning 2.5 days of shooting. She was there obviously before we rolled the cameras, but so I just tried to step back and facilitate what she needed as much as I could.
No, it was great. You guys played off each other really, really well. Are you guys believers of Bigfoot? David, you want to start?
No. No, I'm not.
Even after making this, like, did you have any kind of sense or feeling that there was something out there?
My sense was a sense that I already had, that was sort of, I guess, validated or underscored, but the idea that I can see how human beings would believe in Bigfoot and truly believe it, not like they've been duped or anything, but like believe that there's something that exists out there. I've spent plenty time in the woods in the East Coast of the States, but the Pacific Northwest, those woods in particular, are completely different, unlike anything I've ever experienced. They're deeper, denser, taller, more lush. You physically feel smaller in them, and I can see how people currently, and then of course going back generations and generations and generations, would imagine that there is this thing that's out there, and whether it's benign or mean or
Yeah.
evil or predatory, that probably changes with the times, but I can certainly see how people would believe it.
Yeah.
And I don't judge any of those folks at all. In fact, I really like what Robert Pyle wrote at the end of The Dark Divide, the book, about the idea or the possibility of a Bigfoot existing without us knowing about him.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah.
It's interesting, kind of like the Loch Ness Monster and stuff. There's people who believe in this or whatever, but it's something to, why not?
Yeah.
Tom, there's a great scene too I wanted to mention about when David, as Robert, goes down into this cave that you guys shot in, and you see all these. That's amazing. I understand you went down like really, really deep to get in there.
Yes, that's a real lava cave.
Wow.
Basically drive down this dirt road in the middle of the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, put a little passcode into a gate, drive down another dirt road, and there's a little old A-frame cabin in the middle of nowhere. And you go in there, the guy lets you in, and he opens sort of like a closet door, and there are these like...
Wait. I want you to...
I knew it. I knew you always tell this better. Okay, you do it.
I mean, this is truly, and Tom told me about this, the place, and he set me up, explained it to me, and it still didn't get close to the impact. So, first of all, you truly are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you're driving for miles and miles and miles on a shitty dirt road. Then there's this rusty gate, enter a code, and you drive another 3 miles through the woods, and then there's a clearing. So you're really, really in the middle of nowhere. And that initial dirt road is still, 50 miles off of any kind of like civilization.
Right.
And then there's an A-frame that's a house that is, not even that old or dilapidated. It's just kind of old, kind of 50s looking. And there's nothing to prepare you for what you're about to. There's nothing externally, visually, or anything. And inside the A-frame, it's just small. There's like a TV on a thing and a couch and a chair and like a recliner and a little coffee table. And there's the kitchen with a kettle and whatever. And then there's just a random door.
Yeah.
On this little hall, like here's the bathroom. And then there's this door, a regular door.
Yeah.
Like a closet. And you open it up and immediately you're hit with cold. It's like 30 degrees colder, damp. And there's this massive diamond steel plate, kind of one of those, industrial stairwell way things that it looks like a Bond villain lair. That's like, you move a rock and there's this, and then there's, $1 million worth of equipment or something. And you have to put on a helmet with a hot, light on it, miner's hat. You have to strap yourself in, safety thing to this thing. And then you descend like straight down for several minutes, and it's freezing cold. There's no light, no ventilation. All the particles you see in the movie, those all existed. There's less oxygen. It's just this little A-frame house that a guy lives in the middle of nowhere. This access to this existing, hundreds of millions of years old.
Crazy. That is insane. Oh my God. Well, it was a great part of the film, I have to say. Well, listen, I want to thank you guys so much for your time today. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And David, as I said, take on more of these kinds of roles. I mean, I love the comedy stuff that you give us. Don't get me wrong, but you really, really did a great job in this movie. So hats off to you both. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.